waving too early. I'll get this yet. Hello. Welcome back to Neo Mix Live. I'm Tamara Neo.
Flux Neo.
And this is our show. About...
Is it a show?
It is. It's officially a show. It's a show. It's about whatever catches our fancy, which is a pretty broad spectrum.
Yeah, tonight I think will be indicative of it. We've got some personal stuff we're going to be covering at the beginning. Then I guess some kind of interesting, how would you call it, renovation concepts and things that you've done.
Easiest backsplash renovation ever. Okay. Ever.
And then I've got some cool tech and gear. I guess is the easiest way of putting that. I'm not going to tease mine though. She just gave hers away.
I was about to give you. He
wouldn't
even tell me. He gave me one word, and I'm like, huh?
Well, we'll get to it. But we had a week off last week. Reason being is we had some personal stuff to do with our eldest child, our daughter.
Not coming off of me until Sunday night.
Okay, I guess she has plans. I was unaware of that. But this show, we've got 3 topics. Mm-hmm. First one, we'll jump right into it. And I think kind of the interesting thing about this is that I think both of us kind of had non-traditional childhoods. Yeah. Easiest way of putting it. Yeah. You kind of ping-ponged around as a kid. I ping-ponged around as a kid. Whereas our children have grown up with these very just kind of, staid, consistent lives.
We said we were planting roots.
Yeah, very much so.
And we did.
Very much so. So much so that clearly we're Virginians, but our daughters had actually, our eldest particularly, has had this very Virginia experience. She's been a Senate page in Richmond, which is a very kind of prestigious position for 14-year-olds. I guess you can be 13 and 14, where they serve at the direction, in this case for her, at the state senators for the Commonwealth of Virginia. And it's, what, a 6-week program? Was it 8 weeks?
Well, it depends. In Virginia, we have 2 different sessions. So we have a short session and we have a long session.
Okay.
So the short session is probably close to 5. The long session can be close to 8 weeks. They leave home. They get their schoolwork up there, etc.
Yeah.
So
she's done that. So she's had kind of these very interesting and poignant, experiences is the only way that I can describe it, that really embed her in the cultural and historical features of the Commonwealth here. And this has been continued for her. She went to a military school in the Shenandoah Valley and is now...
The school there is in the statutes that if war is declared or something,
if the militia
is called up, the students of this high school,
yes.
this military high school, will also be called up to be leaders, if I remember reading it correctly.
Yes.
So very Virginia kind of high school. And
very much so. And now she's going to VMI, which is the Virginia Military Institute. And so we were off last week.
Oldest military college, isn't it? I believe so.
I don't know.
I believe so. I believe it's the oldest private. So it's not an academy.
It's not
actually a college.
I think West Point's probably older.
But that's an academy.
Sure. But I think as far as
a private military college.
Well, it wasn't per se private. I think it was the
that's
Commonwealth
true.
of Virginia.
It's public, but it's not an academy. So whatever that word is,
a military institute,
where you still have to pay for it.
You mean higher education?
College.
So what we thought would be interesting to do, and it was one of those things that you hear a lot about it, not only share our experience of having our daughter matriculate, which is the term that is used
when they're starting, instead of being the graduation term. When they start, they sign a book that has been signed by... Oh, God. Okay, just
it all away.
Well, matriculation, I thought, what does that mean? That means you've graduated. No, at VMI, it means your start.
Yes, but it's a very particular experience, which we're going to go through. Goodness.
See my cup? See my lovely cup my husband got me?
Hot.
Beautiful, beautiful beverage.
Yeah, no, I will admit, though, this beverage came at a price. It was make me a latte before the show or you don't get fed.
Oh, that wasn't it. That wasn't it at all. It was, if I make you a fresh caprese, would you make me a latte? Well, the negotiator in him comes out, why don't you make me the Caprese first, and I'll probably get to your latte.
Which I did.
Which you
I did.
So.
But, needless to say. So, regardless, part of the, I guess, emphasis with this segment is to not only kind of share our experience, which was very unique. Neither of us have ever been exposed to the VMI culture and norms and history in the way that we were by going through the matriculation process. But then also additionally, for those parents who have a child who's either interested in going or someone who's maybe been accepted or deferred or anything, but is serious about going to VMI, I think it's nice to kind of get a perspective from somebody who's fresh off the experience, what we learned, what we understood.
No history going in,
yeah,
no
we just kind of
just
worked our way through the day, sweated a ton, and we weren't even the ones matriculating. So we'll go through it, but it is one of those interesting experiences that definitely is fun to recount, but for people who are interested in kind of having a sense as to what to expect and how to prepare for it, I think this will be constructive.
This was our experience.
Yes,
right.
Yes. So matriculation at VMI, it is a kind of very traditional experience, and most everything dealing with VMI is steeped in history and traditions that go back 150 plus years now. So not hundreds.
Well, a long time.
There'll be a picture that says when the
Okay.
school was constituted, right? I think so. Yeah.
Not that I produced. Did you?
I think so. We'll
No.
get to it.
No.
No, that's just the class.
Yeah.
No, we didn't get an entry. At the entry of VMI, there's a year that the school was founded.
Okay.
We're just terrible at
Oh,
this
we
stuff.
are. We are. Okay, well, let's just get into it.
Okay.
Let's roll
So,
it.
this first picture, to kind of give you a sense, this is our eldest child. And here she is at the, what's this building? What was this one called?
Oh, gosh. Don't recall any of the
I don't recall.
names.
It's the
The main building, the main area where they have most of their gatherings. It's where they had the big gym field and all the bleachers, etc.
Yeah. So this is her out front of it. It's kind of a fun thing, and at a minimum for her, there's a lot of excitement at this moment because not only is she starting at school, but more importantly for her, it's just that raw anticipation of what is about to go on because she was able to do the summer program. And in doing the summer program, she was able to, look at it, I threw us up there. Isn't that cool?
Okay.
She was able to get exposed to the layout of the school. She actually took a course there. And during the process, she hears a lot of things. She talks to some of the other kids that are there on campus. And I say kids, they have actually a very diverse range of students, prior military, folks who maybe had gone to other schools but are very interested in going to VMI. So there's a broad range of students. She, though, is kind of interesting because she's 17 and a half.
Yeah.
She
Actually,
graduated.
She's not even 17 and a half. She's a little bit before that.
Okay. So she's a young person going to this school. And so she's got just kind of the teenage, giddiness about her, but then also that just core commitment that this is something that she wanted for herself, was adamant about it. And, everybody worked very diligently, inclusive of her, necessarily her, to see this through. So this...
She just looked at this as her opportunity to become a better person, to become a bigger person, to become a stronger person. And that's what she looked at this as. And it is that. It is definitely that. If you can make it through, that is what it is. So I kind of want to tease, the part of the angst is because the first 8 days of after they officially matriculate in are what's known as Hell Week. And we'll show you some pictures, but
we'll get to that.
Ooh, I can understand why was nervous about it. Go Google VMI matriculation, and there are YouTube videos of it and how shocking and jarring it can be.
Well, we'll get to that.
Okay,
This though is the group of guys, predominantly, obviously.
Yeah, she's one of 66 girls out of 496 matriculants. So there's not very many girls. It's a
True.
good ratio.
This is some of the friends she made though during the summer program. What do they call it? Summer.
I want to say VSP, but I don't think that's it.
Yeah,
Summer
regardless,
program.
they have a distinct summer program. It's been a long day to say the least, but regardless, the summer program is an opportunity for, as I described, the kids to get exposed. These are some of the friends that she made there who are other students that participated in the summer program and were there at matriculation with her. This is kind of the meet and greet phase where you meet other parents and
all the
hang
boys
out.
still have their hair.
Yes, you'll see what happens to those locks of hair afterwards. But the point being is that she makes good friends, and that's one thing about VMI that is very clear. You make friends there not just for college. People are making friends there for life.
They call each other brother rats.
Mm-hmm.
That the process that they go through, they are not even cadets for quite a period of time. They've got to get through Hell Week, and then they've got to get through the whole rat stage. They call them a rat when they first get there.
For about the first 7 months.
Until they break out. And this group of upperclassmen who are their leaders is known as the cadre. And they determine when and if that class of rats is ready to break out. So breakout can be in February, it can be in March. And I've heard tell there was one class that never made it to breakout. I have no idea how that plays out the next year.
Yeah, I can't imagine. but either way, from the standpoint of the relationships, the alumni network, so on and so forth, it is very deep. And I want to point out on this picture, you see it's the matriculation book.
So which one's up right now? We've got so many pictures.
Right there.
That one's up.
Okay.
Yes.
So the matriculation book, she's signing her name that she's matriculating there. And some of the interesting features about that is that that's a book that is old.
Yeah.
And they have all the historical matriculation books. This is one of those traditions that student after student has gone through. I was able to pull up here, and what you're seeing, this is individuals who actually were cadets at VMI. Those cadets then actually went and fought in the Civil War. And died in the Civil War. It was the Battle of Newmarket that they participated in. So she's not just kind of a student as far as the experience of EMI. She's, in a way, kind of a participant in the history that has shaped the school.
The number of military leaders that you know and can call in your head through the history of the last 100+ years, a great number of them came through VMI.
Well, yeah,
Marshall of like the Marshall Plan when we divided up after World War II.
Yeah, who
He's a
helped to
VMI
make sure
grad.
that Western Berlin had resources because it had been encircled by Soviet forces. But regardless, current governor of Virginia, he is an alum from VMI. So there's a lot of people politically, in the military, historical figures, who all owe their heritage in their training to VMI. So this is just kind of those interesting things that when you are in the Commonwealth of Virginia, for example, history is literally all around you. And so it's always kind of intriguing, and it's moments like this where our daughter's kind of joining the names of prominent people in American history. That sometimes you kind of take it for granted, but when you see it and experience it up close and personal like this, it kind of reminds you how cool all of this stuff can be. So
it's part of what drew us to Virginia, actually.
Very much so.
That history, that sense of lineage, and
Well, as I've said, Virginia history is American history, and so it's kind of intriguing. So after we go through the matriculation, the fun began for me. The way the barracks are set up at VMI, when you first come in and you're a rat, you live on the 4th floor. The next year you move to the 3rd floor. The next year, 2nd floor, and your final year, you're on the ground floor, so you don't have to truck up all of these stairs. Well, as someone who had to help my daughter bring all of her things in, mind you, there's no elevator.
And no air conditioning.
Yeah, and it was a hot, humid Lexington, Virginia day. Thank goodness I had this very youthful and vigorous young man who was willing to help carry some of Aya's stuff.
In fairness, though, I mean, for a kid moving into college, she had almost nothing compared to what most kids do.
Yeah, basically
because they
2
strip
bins.
it down. Here's what you may bring. Here's what you shall bring, and
Yep.
anything else is verboten.
Yeah, simply not allowed. So we had our bins to take up, her trunk to take up, a few bedding items to take up. But after 4 flights of stairs, let's just say that's where the reality of the day began to kick in, because I started sweating then, and then it never stopped. So this is a picture of her from the top floor in her room. The time frame between when she was at the barracks to here, basically maybe 3-4 hours of us going from one building to check in, to sign up, to get things,
to go to her major, to check out the chaplain, and
you're
all these various
going
things,
one building to the next, to the next, to the next. Tamara wore nice shoes.
I wore heels. Not a good idea.
Not the best option. So for the women out there,
flats.
Go with the flats. Go with
Tank
the
top.
sneakers.
Shorts.
Yes.
Hair in a ponytail. Forget the makeup. It'll be gone within an hour.
Be prepared to truck around with your soon-to-be rat. Because it was something that took us from one side of the campus to the other.
And it's all on a hill.
Yeah.
You're either going up a stair or you're going down a stair.
It is. And what's kind of funny, and this is just an anecdote, in Lexington you have, obviously, Virginia Military Institute, but additionally you have Washington and Lee. I did not realize that these schools are literally not across
share
the
same
street.
grass.
They're on the same hillside, literally a little passageway between them of one little road, which is just an access road, not like some thoroughfare with a stoplight or anything. But these are directly adjacent to one another. And so when you're there, they have different colored buildings, different
VMI
aesthetics.
is very sparse, and greens, and castle-like walls, and
And very Virginia for Washington and Lee. Big columns and brick and white and beautiful.
So what you're seeing there is after we have all said our final goodbyes. We actually took time to have a long goodbye before we even entered that auditorium, because we knew that once they start calling your group, kids are coming up out of all of the seats and running down and lining up into those little different groups. There are
companies.
There's companies A through I.
And then band.
And then the band has its own company. That's
correct.
True. And then they're lining up, and the cadre is there, and they're shouting out names, and they're just, it's already, and how they move is just so precision. It's just beautiful to watch how cadre moves, and the thought of the fact that all those rats are going to be doing the same thing in about another 7-8 months is really very, very impressive.
It's also interesting because as each of the companies are forming up, there's this giddiness that you have that, it is a very unique experience, very powerful, very moving. You see, young people whose lives are about to be changed forever, weeping, moms weeping, dads choking up, because their pride and joy is about to go through a life transformative
and just the
experience.
swell of emotion from everyone else too. It's a transformational kind of an event.
Yeah, very emotional. Even I may have choked up just slightly. But it's something that, is cool. That's the only way I can describe it. because you're watching them, and I think more importantly for Io, she wants this, and to see that kind of excitement and that energy, and just really chomping at the bit to go and commit herself to this.
I have
And
never seen her this excited
Yeah.
to do something ever in my life.
and all
Ever.
the other young people are exhibiting that same just kind of core commitment. This is not a school for people who are uncertain about what they want out of life, who they
won't
are.
make it
A
through
lot
the
of
first 8 days. let
correct.
alone the
If
next
you're
2
not
months.
committed, this is not the environment for you. A lot of these folks will go on to have active careers in the military. Those that don't commission and become officers in the military, they go on to pursue business. They go on to pursue engineering. These are often professionally minded people who have very real and serious expectations for themselves. But it's this initial moment that kind of captures them. Tamara was talking about the cadre. Their leaders literally come up, and you can kind of make out everybody in the blue.
White pants,
Mm-hmm.
navy blue, or
They
gray blue,
are literally stepping up and announcing that they're committed to making your son or daughter a cadet. And they take it very, very seriously. It's not something that they themselves are kidding about or joking about. There's no sense of humor about this. Not as if they're morose or angry or frustrated. They're just resolved.
I'm so and so of company whatever, and I'm here to care for and guide your student into
Your son or
whatever,
daughter.
your
Yes.
son or daughter.
Yes.
So,
So
and it's a balance of care for and train. And,
Yeah. Discipline.
Yeah.
It's very interesting. When
Okay, so before we get to this scene, though, they left the auditorium, and with the bagpipes a blaring, one company at a
march.
time, they march out the door, out into the middle of the street, down the road, up the side of the campus, because again, everything's either up or it's down in this campus, around and around, and finally they get to the main area where there's this huge parade ground, and there's all the barracks. There's 3 barracks.
all the
And-
parents have ran up
Oh
the
yeah,
hillside
we're trying
at
to
this
book
point.
up all the other ways. I think there's a video on Facebook, and mine was so out of breath that it was ridiculous. But I made it. I made it before she got behind these gates, because once they walk into those gates, you hear those gates
Yeah.
close,
Let me
and
pull
when
this
they're
up.
inside, yeah, is that
They're
the?
literally locked in.
They're being. Did you put any of the pictures up of what happens on the inside?
Yes.
Okay, well that should be the next one. Show
No,
what
they
it
have
looks
to
like.
see. Those are the parents. This is a picture from the inside.
Of the parents being
looking
shut
out.
out. You-
This is the parents being shut out, and the gates literally locked because your son or
Padre
daughter
is
is
launching
not
on
yours
everybody.
anymore. It is theirs.
shouting and screaming, and you see kids running to try and get into the right place, and you see cadre yelling and shouting this way and up in their faces and shouting and shouting and shouting and shouting and shouting, and it was just like
Very much so.
had I not been prepared for that by watching numerous videos in advance, I would have been horrified and climbing the fence.
Yeah, i.e. why they lock it.
Yeah.
But yeah, at this point, your son or daughter is no longer yours. They are
They
a
are their
rat.
own. They are
They've
their own.
taken an oath. They do that after they form up in their company, and now they are on the first step of the rest of their career with VMI. Very quickly, you see that they are immediately focused on disciplining them and ensuring that they learn kind of the core composure that they're to maintain, what orders they are to follow, what the implications of those orders are. This is also, I like this picture because you can see the aesthetic of VMI. It is very much akin almost to kind of a medieval castle. But it's got its own beauty. But they are no fuss, no muss. It's very much, they call it post. They're treating it as a military installation. In their minds, something to be defended and honored. So it's very cool, but you can see they jump right on them and ensure that they get here into not only shape, formation, but the goal is to take them from just a kid or a student and make them military ready, physically,
Absolutely.
emotionally, and in a way spiritually. It takes a certain resolve, but our daughter was able to call us because there's no contact with them.
No phone, everything. Their phones
Their
are
cell
taken
phones
away,
are
their
taken.
watches are taken.
Their
and-
watches
and
are taken.
And if they're given back, they're at a different time, so they have no concept of time because they're being woken up when it's dark. They're being shouted out, all sorts of times just to, discombobulate and see how well they handle themselves throughout
Correct.
it all. This one particularly is getting them ready for the crucible, which is what they call the very last day, which is Sunday. So if everybody's out there, if you'll just say a prayer for all the rats. Sunday is the day they go through the crucible, which is just, everything all at once.
They're basically
all
giving
day
what's
long.
left in them. They're sleep deprived. They've been pushed physically. They're running everywhere.
Up and down hills.
They're
up and down hills.
being told how to sit, how to stand, where to stand, how to eat.
There is
how
no time
to,
off. There is no time, no break away from it. Even when they're sitting and eating at their lunch, there is no conversation. How the
There you
hand
get a
goes up
sense.
is this, and they're reading their rap books and memorizing their rap books, and they are being shouted at every turn, especially at meals. I've heard, especially at meals. So and they're to maintain that composure and keep moving through.
Correct.
And it's
correct.
astounding to watch.
Yeah, our daughter, she was given like a 3 or 4 minute call. She was hoarse.
Yeah.
You could tell that
she was so excited.
yeah, she was resolute, which was
She
very
was just-
cool. As a
Yeah.
parent, you hope your child's prepared. You want them to be prepared. But for purposes of knowing, it's very, very different when you realize that they're going through experiences that at least Tam and I have never been through personally, that are very unique to them, and things that will be definitive of their character, their sense of self, their expectations for themselves, not just today, but for their future. If you know that you can do this, you're capable of ideally great things.
And there are kids who haven't been able to make it thus far. There's been a few that have just said this isn't for me. There's been several that have been injured, and a couple of for whom we're praying for because that are very seriously injured in the hospital, and so it's not easy.
It's not for the faint of heart, to say the
No.
least. You are tested in the end. Think about what it is. Mind you, never mind the fact that they're literally called rats for 7 months at a minimum. This is basically sanctioned hazing. You agree to submit to whatever's asked of you. Now,
There
they
are
don't
boundaries.
get to
they
beat
cannot
you.
touch you.
Yeah, they
cannot
can't
touch you.
punch you in the gut and kick you around physically, but verbally, emotionally, and then kind of the logistics of your day are set up to test you to the fullest. And so we'll probably do some additional updates because I think, again, this is good for people who are wondering what VMI is about, parents who might be thinking about sending a son or daughter there. It's unique. It's very unique.
VMI posts its pictures online if you're ever just curious to go find them. They put them up publicly. They think they have an Instagram account. They have a Flickr account.
They've
so
gotten
they're
with
all,
the
oh yeah, modern media.
They
They've
have.
got some outstanding cadets who are taking the pictures too. Some of these pictures are just beautiful. So
well, I'm excited for. We'll do updates.
yes, so prayers on Saturday night for a good strong Sunday and
Correct.
And Rava Mill.
Yeah, she's gone all in.
Oh,
we
yeah.
have football
I'm ordering
tickets.
flags. We're going to
have-
be doing tailgating. I've never tailgated in my life. I'm all about this. I missed the senior year. I'm making up for it with the whole college thing.
So yeah, we'll be up at VMI a fair amount, and we'll take pictures and kind of educate as we ourselves learn about the experience of VMI from at least a parent's standpoint. And the cool thing is that the Alumni Network, I mentioned it a little bit earlier, is very deep, very strong. So there are other parents who've been through this before. There's families where it's like great granddad went there, grandfather went there, dad went there, uncle went there,
daughters
I
are
went
going there now.
It's a generational institution. So
and there's
it's
Facebook
cool.
pages for all the parents that have been
There is.
hugely helpful in knowing, what is this, what is that, what does this word mean, why is my child called a rat? That was a big one. So anyhow.
Well, we want to pivot, and you have something that's interesting. I actually have questions about it, just because
he wasn't with
I
me
wasn't
when I
with
did
her.
this. So as you all know, I was gone to Arizona getting another child set, and as part of that, I renovated a travel trailer. I did so from all browns and taupey kind of colors into grays, blacks, whites, and pops of cherry red for my sweet little 16-year-old.
Yes, her birthday was just this past week,
she was
and
officially
she and I shared the same birthday. I won't tell you how old I am now, but according to my children, I should be covering myself up with dirt. Regardless, though, as you may be aware of, we have our middle child. We've gone from 3 kids down to just 1 in a month.
Unexpectedly with the second
Yeah,
one.
our middle child, she wants to go out to University of Arizona. And there's a lot of logistics involved with that, sending a kid that far away. But the nice part is that I have a lot of family there. It's my hometown. And we made the decision that she move with her uncle.
Yeah.
And
she's establishing residency, getting
correct.
her sea legs in Arizona.
Correct.
So
she's going to a new school, big school for her. She's gotten onto the swim team, and she's just literally cruising right along.
Off
but
and running.
in getting her set up, we wanted to give her kind of a quasi-independent experience. So my brother has a good chunk of land, and we decided, he's got his own family. We didn't want, my daughter to be an imposition. So we kind of bridged the gap. He had hookups on his property for travel trailers.
As everybody in Arizona does.
Yeah.
It's astounding. They have special garages for all of their travel
Correct.
trailers and whatnot.
So we went ahead and got her one, and Tamara did an epic renovation. Now, this was a very nice unit to begin with,
really
but
was.
we had to make it
wasn't.
girly.
It was too grandma. That was her term. She wanted it to be blacks and whites and grays, very modern looking with pops of cherry.
Sure.
So that's what we did. And I have a lot of different segments to go, but
Correct.
I want to dive into this one because this was like the most fun product. I renovated floors. I painted floors. I dyed carpets. I painted walls. I epoxied countertops. But this was the most fun. So let's go to that.
This is a before shot.
Yeah, this is a before shot, and it's fuzzy and whatnot. I want to show kind of what was there before, because it looks... Go ahead and put it up.
Okay, I think part of what the challenges as to why Tamara's pictures were looking like this, I think she may have been experiencing heat stroke at this point. So needless to say, the pictures are not as crisp and tidy and clean as we might usually do.
I was also just trying to keep up with a lot. I saw every travel trailer in Tucson, Arizona in a period of less than 20 hours. So this one is just a snippet of the kitchen. And you can see there's something there that kind of looks like tile. And I thought, well, that's nice. Well, we'll have to just chip it off and, go up with something that's got grays and whites and blacks, because this is another, again, this kind of creamies, browns, and whatnot. I got up to the darn thing. The darn thing's a sticker. That's a good-looking sticker. Whoever invented that was also very smart, because it looked like the grout and everything. But lo and behold, it was a sticker. So I pulled it off, and I went back up with this product, which I saw, and I thought it was tile, and I've tiled before, so I thought, okay, well, this won't be too hard. It's not too big.
What is this stuff called?
This is not tile. This is the same kind of stuff that you can put on your floor. I don't know how close I can get that. Here, let me give you a bigger piece.
There you go. Oh, yeah, it'll take us out of focus. But...
Okay, so that is a vinyl. That is a vinyl plank with a peel and stick backing. Now, I've got individual pieces here. There we go. Because I ended up tearing apart pieces to kind of piece things together. But they come in these great big old sections, and this is all one section. And actually, I'll try and open this up and show you the back or the back side. Here, maybe you can.
Yeah, I'll work on that while you're describing
Okay,
it.
so literally all I did, no, flip to the next picture for me. I ended up putting these up in that corner. I wanted the splash guard to go all the way around. So that's the corner that initially when I started only had the sticker on one side. So now there is a proper backsplash all the way around the oven part, and then it goes on down into the sink area.
Now, the one thing I do know, and this was kind of one of the cool features, because I remember Tamara talking about this in advance, we use some of this type of flooring in our law offices.
Yes,
it
this
is
flooring we have in
a
our
new
office.
generation
We
of...
have it in our vaults.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know
It's
if
a
you can
new
see that.
generation
It's
of vinyl
pieces
product.
that they have simply put together with one large sticky on the back. So if you've got a big spot and you're ready to go and you want to just put that one on, it's ready for you. But if you need to kind of work around, like I needed to work around, you can see there's some electrical boxes.
They can't see that yet.
Okay,
Here, let me go back over.
I had to work around some electrical boxes and a few other things. That's where it's really great that these are just individual pieces. So all you have to do is sort of cut out the one you want, and it's very easy to cut to fit perfectly. This requires only a scoring. And I did bring this here, so I wanted to sort of attempt to show that. Let me put it on that way.
Okay.
And this is kind of overkill with this. It don't even need something like this. Just simply just set it down.
Just show that you're doing the scoring.
So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just roll this over once in one place. Not very hard. It now has a very faint line, but that's just enough to very easily break. Just like that. Did you see that? That was nothing. Tiny little score, and it breaks, and then flip it the other way, and you now have two separate pieces.
And the
easiest thing in the world to install ever.
The cool thing is that because this is similar to what like we use for our flooring, this stuff it's amazing because it can take a little nick, it can take some damage to it surface wise, and it doesn't like gash the aesthetic. It doesn't create a look where you're every time you walk up to it, all you see is the damage to the surface. I know like our flooring that's like this is like rated for 10 years, but that's in high traffic
and that's where
situations.
Things are rolling across the top of it. This is gonna get water on it. It's gonna get grease on it. I don't know how it will compare directly face to face with tile, ceramic tile, but as cheap and as easy as this was to install for a trailer, it was perfect. Well,
and the nice part is, like, product-wise, it's not very costly.
Nope.
So if you don't like it, or it gets to where, say a grease fire scorches it, you can peel the stuff off, get new product, go right back over it, and it's not a headache. You don't have to have experience laying tile, grouting, or doing any of that.
A lot of different patterns, a lot of different
did we
colors,
say what this was called?
Well, yeah. Where's the back part of it?
I got
this.
here.
This one came from Home Depot. Lowe's didn't have it yet.
So
you
here,
have to go down to Home Depot.
very complicated name. Peel and stick tile. There you go.
That would be
so they literally, I think, were thinking of us. They were like, that thing, it's like you peel it
and you stick it.
It like goes on the wall. So yeah,
but it was
straightforward, and you can get
great product.
I guess all kinds of different color combinations.
And they had
designs.
just come out. When I pulled this one out of a corner, the guy said, "Where'd you get that from?" I said, "I got it over there." And where you got the rest of the stickers? Because I was gonna go back up with the sticker thing. And he says, "I haven't even seen that yet." And he had to go look it up, figure out where it was in the store. It was all the way up on a pallet, top floor. He had to get the lift down, pull it down, and lo and behold, there were like 7 or 8 of them. And he's like, "Oh, I'm putting them out now because they're brand new." So, and I have no idea how my piece got down there, but it was waiting for me. It called for me.
Oh, let's see.
So that was it.
So, did we show this picture? So this is kind of
Yeah,
the
yeah.
finished product.
Yeah,
here.
now I'll have some better pictures when I have everything all pulled together. But right now, I've even got my daughter shooting pictures with me. 3 weeks was a long time, and it wasn't long enough to be out there to finish everything I needed to. So,
But very cool, very clean. And that was kind of the one question that I had, is that how were you able to create the straight lines and to work around? And now I see it's literally
yep.
just score
and
it
these
and
are
shape
designed
it.
to fit together, of course.
Yeah.
So yeah, and
Very cool.
yeah, it was great product. Thumbs up, way up on it.
So, and as you've indicated, you did a lot of, I think, new things that you didn't do before. Because we've done renovation stuff. You used to
My whole
own
life,
homes
basically.
and, take care of tenant messes. And so you learned a lot about kind of keeping a home together and ensuring that, you have the skill set.
Etc. Yeah.
But this now is a lot of new skills that went into this renovation that I'm kind of interested. I wasn't able to be out there. I was holding the fort down back here. So I'm kind of interested right along with you, because I didn't get to see a lot of this stuff. So I'm seeing it for the first time myself.
Yeah. So we'll do a show on the floors. I'll do a show on the countertops. That was its own adventure. And then I actually even reupholstered all the heavy valances. They had these beautiful but heavy, dark, grandma patterned valances.
These are the frames around the windows.
Around the windows, and now they are.
I didn't know what
Buffalo
a valance
check
was. So.
and cherry.
So at least at a minimum, I look forward to that, because, like I said, it's new to me. But my segment is.
He told me one word. He said batteries.
Batteries.
Like you're going to talk about batteries.
Yes. Obviously, I like a lot of technology. And, as some of my prior segments have focused, I'm into ham radio. You'll see I'm a kind of a geeky sort of guy. I do a lot with computer systems, working on my own servers. And kind of interesting off the beaten path things that deal with modern tech, but I'm also very kind of practical. I like to know how it works, find convenient ways to make it useful in my day-to-day life. Tech just for tech's sake, it's interesting. There's a lot of cool science that goes into it, a lot of cool information, interesting people are involved with it. A lot of money and investments go into it. But at the end of the day, I think the more important thing to inquire is, how does this technology improve my life? How does it make things better? And more importantly, I think, how does it help kind of take life in and of itself and simplify it, make it easier? It's kind of oxymoronic on one level when you're dealing with high technology and yet still thinking, how does it simplify my life? Those types of products, I think, capture my attention, because they're things that I can incorporate into my day-to-day experience, my hobbies, my interests. It helps to really streamline things. And it's nice because anytime you're dealing with new information or difficult situations, having the right tool, in essence, goes a long ways towards making things easier, taking the stress out of them, any frustration out of them. So hunting up cool products that are useful is something that's intriguing to me. And we'll be doing a lot of segments that actually focus in on that. Tonight's, though, as Tamara's indicated, is about batteries. And not just any batteries. Batteries that really help to take technology that you already have and extend its utility and life when you're in situations where maybe you don't have access to power. Maybe there's a long-term outage. Maybe you're in a situation where there's a natural disaster and you want to ensure that you're able to kind of keep your family, yourself safe and secure, keep information coming in, being able to communicate with people. So battery technology is hitting this really unique stage. There's new battery technologies coming out, and it's not surprising. Think about the billions of dollars that are being invested into electric cars and the batteries associated with those. That tech, that knowledge, that research, that science, that engineering percolates through other industries. And one of the cool products to come out of it are lithium batteries. And their evolution is very interesting. So the first product I kind of want to pivot onto and talk about here is Jackery. They started in 2012. This is one of their portable power station units. And you can see on the interface there's a 12 volt input, USB, your traditional, socket, so to speak. But these have long life associated with them, and I'll talk about it shortly, some other cool functions that make these little dynamos, little powerhouses. And the cool thing about a product like this, the folks who got involved with making it are actually former Apple battery engineers. These are folks who created batteries for the iPods and the iPhones. Every bit of tech that went into that, they took that information and out of Silicon Valley went on to create the whole Jackery brand. Now, what they're kind of known for, and what's actually very cool about Jackery, is they're not just interested in kind of making the most of lithium, power in these portable stations. In 2015, they obviously came out with this product, but then in 2018, a few years later, and this is where they really kind of came to my interest, is they started augmenting these units with a solar power base. So you can have solar panels that actually charge these units. This is one of their other power stations. And you can see they have different sizes, different panels, so that depending on what it is that you want to power, this is their 1,000 watt unit. The cool thing is where it says input in the upper, left-hand corner for me. I think it should be the same for you. You can plug in ham radio equipment, obviously USBs, power appliances, a lot of different things. But this is the cool part. This is a picture that shows one of their solar panels. The benefit of being able to have a device like this that not only is something that you can charge over and over and over again. That's the real power of this new lithium battery technology, is that they not only store power well, but you can use them, charge them, discharge them. Use them again over and over and over again, and the life of these batteries is very high. So a lot of rechargeable batteries, for me as a kid, probably with you as well, rechargeable batteries were a joke. I don't know.
Oh, they were
I don't
expensive,
really
maybe
know who
twice.
used them, but you'd have a little base, and you'd use them, and they worked about a quarter of the length of a standard battery that you'd buy. And maybe there were some environmental interests. Maybe after a while you might have saved a little bit of money, but it was never worth the headache or hassle versus just getting a disposable battery. And environmental concerns aside, people convenience, general batteries want out. Recently, though, obviously with the rise of portable technology, things have changed around batteries, and now rechargeable batteries are often a go-to because of the fact that you get longer life out of them. They are something that you can use over and over and over again, and the convenience associated with them. A lot of the headaches that historically were out there using this technology is gone.
Now you own this exact unit, don't
Yes. So I actually wanted to show you these units. This is their 500 series. They're not big. I'm not a small guy, but I'm not some monster either. But this is like very manageable size-wise.
you? Weight's not too bad.
Weight's not too bad. It's designed for convenience. You can see on this one, it's got the USB ports in the middle. This is the reason why I like this unit, is because I can charge my ham radio equipment by plugging into this DC port, or just plugging in here a standard jack, for any American phone, or any American device, but I forget what the actual port's called.
110.
Yeah, 110. So point being is that each of these you can power on each section So if you want power going here and here, but you're not using USB, you just power up those sections. There's a cool display that tells you, how much reserves are in the battery and the rate at which it's being discharged.
Have you had a chance to use yours yet?
This one only to test on the ham radio equipment.
I see.
But this is the very cool part, the input. And when I go back to this picture over here, you'll see in the background the panel that is there. That panel, you can have it there and charging while you're using it. So it's not a scenario where you have to wait, use it, then sit around and let the solar panel charge it. I think this one, if you get their 100-watt solar power panel, it's something that you can have charged in 5 or 6 hours. If you're on a sunny day and you take the time to move it around. So when you think about, any scenario where you're, off the grid because you're out camping, or you're in a scenario where, again, there's some sort of emergency, power outage, and you still need power. You still want to communicate. You still want to ensure, that, say you have some medical equipment. This is powerful enough to run that, but yet it's in this very compact form factor. I don't have any serious...
Do you have any measurement of how long it would last? Or how
Well,
much
it depends, and this is
draw it
actually one of the things that I would point out. Go to Jackery.com, as it indicates here, Jackery.com. Go to Jackery.com. They have information about each of the respective units. They have some very compact units too, for easy portability. But when you get into the bigger units, like I said, this is their 500 series. They have 1,000 series as well. They'll give you kind of test cases and scenarios depending on what kind of equipment you would anticipate needing to power and run. You can get that information. So if you have questions, my goal is to try to expose folks to interesting products that we use and believe in and have put our money behind. But if you have information that you're needing, just go to Jackery.com. They have a very comprehensive website. And the cool thing is they have other products that are worth getting exposed to. But I do want to move on from Jackery. And along these same lines, this is another company, and this is the first one I got exposed to, Dakota Lithium. They have a unit, and this was my very first unit that I got for ham radio. It does have USB ports, and oddly, these were popular with people who were ice fishermen. Folks that I guess were in the upper Midwest who go out on ice packs fell in love with these things because they could power their equipment while they're sitting out there freezing on the ice fishing. But Dakota got very popular. Let me show just one thing. This one has lights on the front. You can obviously hook different kinds of power, USB 12 volt, and these posts for other equipment that you have to wire.
Now, what are the 3 different on and off buttons?
Depending on whether you're turning on the flashlight or whether you're turning on respective power for the 12 volt or USB. But the cool thing is this is a little waterproof case that this sits in, and you can kind of see the battery just sits down in there. The attachments are there. It's very simple, very clean, lightweight, compact. But again, it's another lithium item. And here, I'll go back briefly. This one you can see kind of the lights that are when they're illuminated. So there's kind of some convenience, if you will, that's associated with this that, at least as I see it, is very powerful, very convenient, very useful. But you can buy these little units, which are additional batteries to drop in. So with Dakota, they've been out now, I want to say 9 years or so. But regardless, one thing that a lot of people love about them is their customer service and support is phenomenal. The guys who promote this and run around the country educating people about their stuff, they're like some of the most excited human beings about their product. They know how cool it is. So their customer service and support is wonderful. But the reason why it's cool to have a backup battery is that when you take This unit and you're using it, you have an extra battery, and because of the convenience of being able to swap these in and out, much the same as what you can do with the Jackery unit. Here, if you want to hold that, you can add a solar panel, and this one is an Echo Power unit. These things, they're slim. All the attachments are there. Let me go ahead and pull up. You can see these are little. They're like, I don't know, maybe 1.5 inches thick, and they come with various attachments. USB ports are often included on these. Echo Power, they're actually based out of Los Angeles, is where they got started. But they wanted to ensure that they were making great products for people who are into camping and the like. But to kind of give you a sense, these things just unfold, and that's it. You just lay these things out. Easy peasy, no headache, no fuss, no muss. All the attachments are in there. So what I can do for my ham radio equipment, and then it folds down, convenient handle, super slick, super thin. Very powerful though, but it can charge one of my other batteries like this. And again, these things, you can use them over and over and over again. And while this one's busy charging, I'm busy using my equipment and powering it off of the other one. So it's very slick, very cool stuff. But more importantly, and I pull this back up, it's convenient, and we're not talking about stuff that breaks the bank. Solar technology now has come along, and in all candor, I'm not someone that is particularly focused only on kind of environmental concerns. I care about a product working first and foremost. And the reason why I'm confident in these products is not just other people's use of them, but my own experience with them. These things are resilient, and the technology is now mature enough that you can make use of it. It's not cumbersome, it's easy, and you can go anywhere at any time. And as long as you have a sunny enough day to catch a sunburn, you can recharge your devices and help enhance not just the quality of your experience, but like I said, sometimes safety and certainty that you're still able to do what you want regardless of the circumstances that you encounter. So for me, I like this stuff. It's cool technology at the end of the day. Echo Power, you can go to echopower.com. Same thing with Dakota Lithium. Go to dakotalithium.com, and Jackery. Go to jackery.com. But each of them, they'll have information, and more importantly, each of these companies also have a bunch of other products that are geared towards making people's lives that much more convenient regardless of circumstances that you may find yourself in. And for me, that's the coolest part, when a company's kind of got a vision that sees them evolving, not just the technology they have, but looking and really at the end of the day, listening to the people who are using their product. If the people who are using it are telling you, hey, this works, this doesn't, and you've got a company that's committed and responsive enough to say, hey, we're putting out a new product, we've changed this design, we've corrected this issue. It's something that builds trust and ideally long-term relationship that, at least with these companies, I can say I'm confident about, was willing to put my money behind it. And it's actually very cool. Very cool. But that's kind of my overview today with the batteries and the solar power component to power them. But all this great stuff, and I think, at least for me, that's my bit.
All right. Well, I'd say that's show number 6.
Is it?
In the bag.
That easy? Is this easy?
It's fun. Listen,
it
this
fun?
is our Friday night dates. I put makeup on. We get dressed up.
I might get fed if I make a latte. No, but either way, if you like what we're doing, or if you have show ideas, Facebook, you can like what we're doing. You can reach out to Tamara. She's very
Find us
keen on that.
YouTube. Make sure you subscribe. Hit the bell to get the notifications.
Sure.
And comment away.
Yeah, every time our videos get posted, you'll get an alert. So definitely subscribe. It's something that we're just getting started with all this. So we've got a lot of growth ahead of us, and we're very much interested in ensuring that the things that we're talking about are interesting to you. So please let us know.
Yeah, go get
Send us a
subscribed
message.
tonight because I have a backlog of things that I got to get up and post.
Yeah, there's a lot of content
there's a
that's
wave
still coming.
coming.
So with that, though, have a good evening. Thank you very much
Thank
for
you
taking
for
your
coming to
evening
Neo
and
Mix Live.
spending it with us.
Right?
We'll see you next
Bye.
week.